Let's face it, Christmas decor can get really expensive really fast, so let's do some holiday decorating on a budget with some creative DIY projects. Welcome to the Chic Show. Today is the 5 Under $5 challenge hosted by Emily at Farm Charm Chic, and guest host today is Crafting Up a Storm with Shar. You'll find their channels in the description box below, and today is all about Christmas icons. Project, I'm using one of these wood rounds from Dollar Tree and this angel wood cutout. Either I got it on clearance at Walmart or at Michael's, I'm not sure which. But I'm going to paint the wood round with black chalk paint, and then I'm going to paint the angel piece with a gold leaf. For detailed pieces like this, I like using a sponge because it tends to cover really well and goes really quickly. I'm painting on some Titebond quick and thick glue to the back of this piece, and I'm going to glue it down to the wood round. I did want something heavy on it to hold it down while it dried, so I just used my water cup. I got this little Easter sign from clearance from Hobby Lobby. So I'm going to be painting this side with some of this barn red milk paint. It did take a couple of coats in order to cover this little bunny. Milk paint does need to be sealed, so what I'm using here is Mod Podge. Once it has been sealed and is completely dry, I'm going to be using this rub-on transfer from last year's IOD Candy Cane Cottage. And it's this cute little Santa Claus. And I'm just going to use my tool and rub it on until it is completely adhered. I'm going to burnish it down with the transfer paper, and then also I'm going to lightly sand it in two directions with my little finger sander, and it brings out some of the details of that wood underneath. I wanted to add some text to this piece, so I'm using some letters from IOD's Apothecary Stamps, and I'm stamping on the word Mary. To embellish this piece a little bit more, I'm using one of these tags. It's actually from Walmart, I believe, but it's a little too stark white. So I'm going to sand it just a little bit, and then I'm going to be using some antique wax. Actually, it's Jolie's dark wax, and I'm going to grunge that up just a little bit, including the thread. I went ahead and added some of this dark wax to the wood piece as well. To finish this little Santa off, I added a piece of lace and then added on my tag. I'm going to start by making a pom-pom. I would recommend using a pom-pom tool, which they do have at Dollar Tree. Now I'm also using this piece that I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby, and sorry, we are getting rid of jaws there. Now I am going to use this burlap ribbon that I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby, I believe, and I'm going to be using this to cover the front of this sign. I traced around the sign so that I knew exactly how to cut the burlap to fit on top, and then I just used some hot glue to attach the burlap to the sign. For this little hat, I'm using some of this fur fabric that I did find at Dollar Tree, so I'm just going to cut it to fit along the bottom part of that hat. Now I'm just going to hot glue that onto the bottom part of the hat and add my pom-pom to the top. This is a very simple project, but I think it packs a punch. I did use a small piece of drop cloth and my stamps, and I stamped the name Frosty onto it, so Frosty has his own merch. This sign is from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be taking it outside and giving it a coat of white spray paint. I'm also going to be using these wall stickers. When I saw them, to me, they just looked like gingerbread house. So I'm going to tear this one off of the backing sheet and place it down onto the sign. I'm also going to be using a couple of these other stickers at the bottom of the house. I will be decorating the star in a few minutes, as well as putting a piece behind the star so it will look like a cookie. But right now I'm going to be using this white puff paint, and I'm just going to decorate the flowers and the house. While the puff paint is still wet, I'm going to take some of these little Christmas candies that I found at Hobby Lobby in the jewelry section, and I'm going to be adding these to different places on the house. The little suckers were from Hobby Lobby in the miniature section. I used a felt gingerbread sticker from Dollar General for the bottom, and I also glued on this small candy cane, also from the miniature Christmas section at Hobby Lobby. While the paint was still wet, I sprinkled on some glitter. I'm using this brown foam to cover the back of the star so that it will look more like a gingerbread cookie. I used my IOD apothecary stamps to stamp on a label and then also to add the words bake shop. I didn't like the way that looked, so I painted over it and I added on this Merry Christmas sign from, I think it was from Hobby Lobby. So I'm just painting this with cinnamon paint. Again, using that puff paint, I decorated the star and I added a nice little centerpiece to it as well. More puff paint just to outline the sign a little bit. And then this gingerbread sign is complete. This project, I'm going to be making some Rudolph calling bells. So I'm using a belt that I thrifted, and I'm just cutting it to the length that I want and rounding off both ends. Once I have it to the length that I want and the ends are trimmed, I'm going to use this nail, and there's probably a much safer, better way to do this, but I stuck a hole through both layers of the belt because we'll be putting in a gold brad through there in a minute. Now I'm taking my little finger sander and I'm just sanding off this part of the belt because I'm going to be using these stamps from IOD, the apothecary stamps, to stamp on there, and I wanted the ink to stick and not just smear off. I did go ahead and sand around the edges just a little bit too so that it would look more worn and used. Now I'm going to take those apothecary stamps and I'm going to stamp Rudolph's name right onto the belt. I put a little piece of tape at the top so that I would know exactly where I wanted my stamps to start. Now I'm going to add one of these little gold brads through both layers of the belt, and there's just enough sticking out at the back to pull apart and secure it in place. Now we can add our bell. This is a bell that I took off of something last year. I just found it loose in my Christmas stash, and I'm going to be using a piece of jute twine to tie it around this loop. I trimmed off the excess jute cord, and then we have the cutest little Rudolph calling bells. This would make a great little ornament as well. I hope that you found with some smart shopping and a little creativity, decorating for the holidays can be done on a budget. If you have any of your own budget-friendly decorating ideas, please share them with me in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. And if you're looking for more holiday content, check out the host channels in the playlist below. Check out this video right here too. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to share the chic. Bye now.